United States. And he's an older guy. And he talks about the giants, they found in Utah and all, while he was coming up. So we're going to get off into the giants in Utah and see what he say, man. Just getting some education about our land, man. As an Aboriginal, what I'm saying? We're just going down these rabbit holes and examining our land. So we're gonna see what this guy here say about what his findings was concerning giants in the land of Utah. Utah. So check it out. And I'll stop it every now and then just to, elaborate if he say something interesting or whatever. But check him out.
And they looked at him really close, and even though they were teenagers, they weren't adults yet, they understood a little bit about bones and how your skull bones will fuse when you're an adult, and their skull bones they noticed were fused. And the reason they were curious is because in both cases with those skeletons, they had another set of teeth in there underneath the first set growing out, which was really peculiar because we didn't have any understanding about that particular thing. But anyway, they ended up just leaving them there and looking for stuff and left. And many years later, I went back when I learned how to do a lot of detection work for tunnels and underground novelties and minerals and stuff like that. And I ran a pretty good scan through there. And there's a very, very large tunnel that goes way back into the mountain there. I suspect somebody probably cleaned that out and removed the bodies. And because for a long time, there were rumors that some people out of Kanab found a treasure in there that was some $40 million that they sold on the black market in the same canyon. So I think that was exploited, that particular burial. But, we certainly weren't the only ones that found stuff. Tyrone Dennett found some ancient burials up in the White Mountains out of Kanab and brought one of the skulls home. I don't know if he's still alive or not, but a lot of people, he was a school teacher in Kanab. The skull that he brought from a cave full of skeletons had a very well, perfectly made gold tooth in it. Go figure who did that. I don't know. And another family that I grew up with and went to some years.
Now, if you didn't hear him, he said they found one skull of a giant in Utah with a perfectly preserved gold tooth in his mouth. So, that's very interesting to me. So I just wanted to make sure you hear that. Let him ride.
In school with there at Kanab. Found a giant about 8 or 10 miles out of Kanab, Utah, Johnson Canyon. I had a forensic done on a parchment that came out of there. And the spectrograph reading on a piece of metal that came out there, a metal ball.
I've seen that metal ball. I've seen the metal ball, and I'd like you to talk about that metal ball, but also talk about that fabric or whatever.
The fabric is.
But before you get to that, I want to stop you and back up to that gold tooth.
That's right.
That wasn't a normal skull. You're talking that was a giant.
It was a
skull of a giant. It wasn't a normal.
It wasn't normal size. It was larger size.
Okay.
Yeah. But the giant was 9 feet tall. My friend measured him. This was in the 50s. They had an archaeologist come out and an anthropologist, and they looked at the bones really well. They says, this guy is Negro. And I thought, wow, because so many of the people that are found in Utah that are giants.
I'm going to try to bag that up a little bit. Not too much. But what did he say that the giant was with this gold tooth in his mouth? I'm trying not to go back too far.
And the spectrograph reading on a piece of metal that came out there, a metal ball.
I've seen that metal ball. I've seen the metal ball, and I'd like you to talk about that metal ball, but also talk about that fabric or whatever.
The fabric is.
But before you get to that, I want to stop you and back up to that gold tooth. That wasn't a normal skull. You're talking that was a giant.
It was a
skull of a giant. It wasn't a normal.
It wasn't normal size. It was larger size.
Okay.
Yeah. But the giant was 9 feet tall. My friend measured him. This was in the 50s. They had an archaeologist come out and an anthropologist, and they looked at the bones really well. They says, this guy is Negro.
Huh?
Oh, because so many of the people that are found in Utah that are giants are quite often red-headed and light-skinned people, but this guy was not.
Wow.
I mean, we don't know what color hair he had, but his bones were Negroid, according to the authorities at that time that looked at it. You know, it was pretty common for people to dig on a burial.
Let me see. Hold up. But you got to stop and read the articles too. Now the mummy was a Negro with a gold tooth in his mouth, a perfect gold tooth in his mouth. But the article on this newspaper, I can't read the little part, but mummies in Utah, no possible explanation yet to accounts for the red-headed, wavy-haired, perhaps white race in America, thousands of years before the Indians or even the cliff dwellers. So thousands of years before the Indians, they referring to Mongoloids when they say Indians, I guess. But this was a Negro, according to forensics, and he was here at the same time these red-headed things was here with a gold tooth in his mouth, a Negro. So, you know, little, you know, stuff like this, you know, that dispels all that. We came over here on the boat in, you know, 1619, you know, it's just ridiculous. You know, the proof is in the pudding. But let's check him out, see what he say for a little while longer.
There's no days that it wasn't policed or controlled.
Right.
So most stuff like that is found usually after a heavy rainstorm and a lot of flooding. Or it's also found farmers will be digging and building things and making ditches and removing a lot of dirt. And a lot of it's found by accident. But the truth is, where giant burials are at, there's a certain geological relationship to where they're buried.
Really?
I'm not going to tell it.
Okay.
I don't want that found out.
Okay.
There's about 4 different styles. And not everything that's dug up is a giant from ancient times here in Utah. I want people to understand that. There's a bunch of people up a canyon where that 9-foot Negro was buried. And if you go to the end of that canyon, there's these big spirals carved in stone. I mean, they are massive, and they go down through the sandstone into other burials. Those people in there are only about 6 feet tall, all the way down to babies, and they are redheaded, but they're not giants. But they're definitely from an ancient civilization. They're not modern burials.
Right.
So go figure. I can't tell anybody who would. My take on that is not religious on any of the burials. My thing is I like to know who they are, where they came from, and what kind of people they were.
And that's the same as me.
You notice he said he not religious. Who said anything about religion? You see, he said it's something he don't want you to know. He don't want that out there. Then he revert back to, well, I'm not a religious person. Well, what religion gonna go back to? The scripture. So he know damn well the scripture took place in these places he talking about. That he's talking about right now. He know that. Otherwise, it wouldn't be no reason to even mention religion. We talking about giants in Utah with red hair and gold teeth. What they got to do with any religion? So for him to even bring that up, you know what time it is. He know it's biblical. Fat boy trying to dance though, but appreciate you bringing it out though.
Good, yeah. Research.
That's the same as me.
Religionists have their own.
One, are they real? And 2, if they are, who were they?
I agree. You know, religionists has their take on it, and that's fine. I can appreciate their thoughts on it.
Yep.
But I don't really have any preconceived notions or thoughts on who they might be and who they should be. There's one area where I saw 2 calendars. And I looked at it really close, and I would swear it's probably the Tzolk'in calendar that came from South Central America, from the Toltec. I can't tell you what it's doing on Johnson Canyon, but that's also on Johnson Canyon. Well, there's a lot we don't know.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, but there's a lot you do know that you too scared to say, because you know they're gonna put you up under. Continue on.
And when that got me started, and I was curious, I've always been a curious person, and when I study something, I usually do it like a cloistered monk. I stay with it, and I've been with it all of since I was about 8 years old. So there's books like The Conquest of Mexico and Peru by Prescott. It was taken from an older book that Lord Kingsborough wrote when he was Central America and South America during the conquest of Mexico and Peru. And the book's about 1,000 pages of fine print. And there's one place in there they talked about how the Spanish captured some giants and put them in cages and tried to take them back to Spain. So early on, it was understood that those people did exist, but they died on the boat and were not alive when they made it back to Spain. I think they ended up throwing them overboard or something like that. So that's a lot on that too. But also, as far as giants and ancient burials are concerned, from what I've seen, just from the pattern, there's a lot of places I've seen. I've looked in a lot of stuff. Johnny Brewer was a friend of mine from the time I was 26 years old. I spent a lot of time with him. I have stacks of letters from John.
John Brewer, and that's talking about the Brewer Cave and the giants he found in the ancient records. So I just wanted everybody to know that. Okay.
Exactly, like John Brewer. And what he found, a lot of people have the concept of that's the only one, that's all there is. But I'm here to tell you there's not 2 or 3 of them buried here and there. There's not 200 or 300 of them. There are thousands of them buried at large in Utah. Some of them in Idaho, some of them in Arizona. It appears to me from my observations, I've seen a lot of them, it's almost like there's a pecking order. If somebody's really important, and they'll be decorated in all kinds of jewels and precious metals, and they will be buried much deeper and much harder to get. Whereas some of the ones that are in shallow graves, there's usually nothing on them metallic. And they're usually accessible. Whereas the one like Johnny Brewer, John told me that one time he'd take about 40 feet deep to get to the first entrance. And it's been my observation that the really important ones are important because they have a lot of metal on them and they have records and stuff like that are buried very, very deep. But I also know that from being a professional at electronic equipment that can find underground things, I'm here to tell you that 90% of the caves or more are not visible. Because we have geology and we have erosion, and these valley floors were deeper at one time. And over eons of time, with erosion, they build up higher and higher and higher. And when I first started shooting signals into the ground, I found out that the base of mountains were packed with caves. As far as I know, the giants were cave dwellers. And their caves are covered up for the most part. So if you're going to find one, you'll likely find it somewhere between 30 and 40 feet deep from the base of a mountain. The one that my friend Bruce dug up was a 9-footer up Johnson Canyon. He used a bulldozer and a backhoe. That guy was 35 feet deep. That's pretty deep.
So you've physically seen some of these giants.
I have, yeah.
Okay.
I have. I don't dare do any excavation. It's not lawful. A guy could go to jail for a long time. I've tried a few times to get people to put up the funding, and then if they would, I would take him there. And we could do a lawful overboard excavation. We could have an archaeologist there, certified anthropologist.
I know it's one of your things that you want to get a DNA sample of one of these guys to see who they are.
That's exactly what I'd like to do. And according to John Brewer, he told me unequivocally, and he told me the same thing at different times, and I believe him. He says he took a hair sample from the giants that he found, and BYU had agreed to do an atomic absorption and do some analysis of the hair. He says they would never give him the results of it. He says he found out the results, at least a little bit about it, from a friend of his on the inside of BYU, who quietly let him know that it was the healthiest specimen ever analyzed. So, how I can't document that, I can't prove it, but right. I know John and knew him quite well.
So this dude found some giants and stuff, got the hair samples, sent them to BYU, which is Brigham Young University in Utah. And they refused to give him the results back. What'd that tell you, man? Come on now, seriously. Now, I let him ride for a long time because I'm just really enjoying this kind of information, you dig, about the homeland. But For real, for them not to give him the results back lets you know something. I mean, anybody with common sense would know something. If it was anybody on earth that these results could come back to, it would have been public knowledge. But who these results came back to, they wouldn't even tell the man who gave them the damn samples. So what they tell you, Aborigine? What they tell you?
Well, anyway, his cave, and people refer to his cave, but John Brewer told me repeatedly that the map inside the cave shows 7 other caves.
In the Sanpete Valley.
In Sanpete Valley. He took me to 2 other different places where the caves were. One of them was over by Spring City. And there's some more over on the west side of here. Some pretty good stuff there. And there's other stories with other people that have been over there and run across stuff too that were pretty interesting. So there's quite a few of them, and there's a lot of things in common, like Johnny Brewer's cave, according to John, and the cave that I went into. And that in both cases, there's some pretty good looking, really nice crystal balls. They're solid, they're not hollow. And they're made out of beryllium. Now I'm bringing that up for a reason, because I found a parallel between what Johnny found in his cave and what I've seen in the cave with the lost books of the Bible. You read the Exodus and the Pseudepigrapha by Charles Worth, where the Hebrews were in the Promised Land and they had to war with a race of people known as the Amorites. And according to that text, they were giants, and they were large enough to where Joshua and his warriors had to cut them at the...
I wish I had an explosion like them YouTubers. They get paid when they explode, when it's big news and information, it just explode. This is what I've been looking for. This is exactly what I've been looking for. These giants and these Negroes and these Negro giants, all these Negroes was over here fighting in the Book of Kings, fighting in the Book of Judges, fighting during Joshua's time, fighting against giants, fighting against regular people, fighting against Mongoloids when they started to invade. I knew it.
To waste because they couldn't reach the end at all. And after that war went on and they subdued them, Joshua says he took a lot of their sacred things out of their temples underground, and that some of them were crystal balls. I just find it interesting that there you have giants and you have crystal balls, and Johnny Brewer has giants and crystal balls, and they're continents apart, and those 2 things would come together. And that's it. Something I wanted to mention.
Yeah, interesting.
As far as Johnny Brewer's cave right now, as far as I know, it's been demolated. The entrance has been blown in.
Yeah, of course.
And it's in an area where if you try to get in it, you're visible.
Yep.
So, and it's when you get through the legal ramifications and all the red tape that the bureaucracy has put on the people. Now, I agree that people should not desecrate burials. And there should never be a free-for-all, and it should never be done for people, private collection.
Right.
It wouldn't offend me personally if some of those burials were exhumed for study and for research. I mean, the one they had a big fight with Kenneth McMahon.
And shared with the public.
Shared with the public.
Because
we need to know. So
right now, it's said that it's being suppressed. The knowledge of giants or that type of stuff. And my question is, why would they care about the giants being suppressed? Why would they even care? So I would like to...
They care because they know the holy scriptures of the Old Testament, what they call the Old Testament, Torah, took place in America. They know that. It's a fact. It ain't no other way around it. Otherwise, it wouldn't be no secret. It wouldn't be no secret. That's why they suppress it. They got no choice but to suppress it. They know where the Holy Land's at, but they done fake this old Middle Eastern, African stuff, for so long that, They ain't got no choice but to keep going with their game. Period. Look at the man. Look at the big boy cheesing. Big boy know what time it is. Big boy say he know what time it is. He just can't outright say it because he don't want to die.
I would like to see, just to see if they are real or not, or if this is all made up, or if this is real. But you've said you've seen them, so
I know what I've seen.
yeah.
And I've got the same question. It's my biggest question. Not my biggest, but it's right at the top. Who's hiding it and why? Why isn't there? Why has there not been an open board excavation? So we, John Q. Public, can see and know and understand the truth. And I would really like to know that. You know, I know another guy in southern Utah, and I'm not going to mention his name, and I know him quite well. He asked me to come and work on his property to help him excavate some more sites because he found some. He looked in there, and they were giants. He talked to BYU about it, and they asked for permission to go look at it, and he gave them permission. And then he left town for 3 days, and when time he got back, they had taken 14 bodies.
Wow.
He swears by it. I can't prove it.
Right.
But if that's the case, and if he's telling the truth, then what is really going on? You know, and I know what I saw. And I challenge anybody for an overboard excavation with permits, and I will take them there if they want to excavate one. But I want it. The first thing I want to happen is I want it videoed.
Yes. So share.
And I want something there with size. Put a yardstick in there so we can see the relative size.
Right.
National Geographic magazine sitting there or something like that. Or the Ancient American magazine. So we can see, and you standing there, or whoever they are, we know the known size.
So is one of these sites on private property?
I know where the sites are on private property.
Because on private property, we have a better chance of excavating than getting our archaeologists in there. And
got a better one than that.
Okay.
I have a friend that has them on private property, and he's given me permission to do it.
Okay.
And it's been waiting for years and years and years. You know, I was going to get permission from some private property down south where that 9-footer was buried, that 9-foot giant. And the people that dug him up sold the property, so they don't own it anymore.
Right.
So Wayne May at the Ancient American asked me if he says, "Hey, would you please go see if you can get permission from them to dig it up and take pictures of it and do an overboard excavation?" And I say, "Sure." So he sent me some gas money, I guess. And so I went down there and I couldn't get the owner, but I talked to the foreman, and he just says, "No way, under any condition whatsoever, would I ever allow this be excavated." And I never got the owner. The owner lives in Vegas, and there's about 15 people with his name, so I couldn't follow up on that. But I never told them where it was buried at. I just told them on their property. I figured that they wouldn't, not cooperate if I tell them anything.
Right.
Take a chance on somebody moving in or something like that. But he's still there. And so anyway, that's why I stand it offer. If anybody wants to do it.
So yeah, I think we would like to do something along that lines. I'm waiting for our scientist to get back so he can do the DNA samples and stuff like that. And
on day one, we leave. I can take him to a spot where you can see the tombs on the surface of the ground and these pyro tombs carved out. I had a lot of photographs of those that I took a few years ago. And I had a virus in my computer, and I had to
Terrible.
And I have one left.
Terrible.
I could probably get them if I emailed the people I sent them to. It'd be work, but I could get them. It can all be redone. I mean, it's not too hard to get. And one of the sites is it's less than 10 miles from here where I got permission. So it's not very far away. So glad to do it. And he's a nice guy. He's amiable. He says, but I warn you, that particular burial probably is 40 feet deep, so you're going to have it's going to be work getting.
Right.
And there's a lot of metal there. I detected that with my EM83 and my resistivity. So, there's a lot of metal there. So it would be a wonderful, wonderful place to do it, Anyway.
So yeah, I think, we would be interested, the Ancient Historical Research Foundation. As soon as our scientist gets back, we'd like to, just like you said, we want it videoed.
I'm going to check out the rest of the video a little later, because it's late, 2 hours. Let me see what that video says. 20 minutes, I don't see that well. But yeah, man. What they look like? So I'm gonna analyze the rest of the video and probably come back to you if it's something that's spectacular like the first part was. You know, we debunk a lot of Pan-Africanists by showing them information that, you know, the Negro been in America for as long as he been in Africa. But I just thank the Creator for showing us things like this and letting knowledge increase. So, you know, all praises to the Creator in the power of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And I'll catch y'all later. Aboriginal Hebrew. Allahu Akbar.